So we're looking like peace, peace. Am I getting? Let me see if my mic is what's my sound sounding like? You know what? I don't know if my mic is doing it. Run throughs. Anyway, let me do it like this. I tell you, we're doing my background. Tell you what, we're doing a run through technical difficulties and all the likes. But anyway, man, what's good? Hadn't been with you guys in a minute. Decided to get my channel back on. Wanted to be able to share. Appreciate being on the arena. My man coming through. And man, what's good, son?
Hey, what's good, Yanga?
What's good, man? Surprise. Okay. I'm coming back. Good to be back on. Yeah. You know what? In fact, I'm glad you're on here. I can test. They're going to bear with us, man. They know it's been a minute since I've been on, so everything comes with it. Let me test my headphones. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Oh, that sounds
this
good.
Is better. This is perfect. Okay.
You at the studio?
No. I'm not at. Didn't make it to the studio. I wanted to be at the studio, so I had to do it from the house. That's why I'm the sound quality and everything. Very big difference. Next, yeah. I think that next live I do, I'm gonna do it for the studio because although I did a Facebook live walkthrough at the studio, I haven't done it for the YouTube fam. But I just wanted to jump back on it. Peace, free spirit. What's good? I'm glad you could fall through. I just wanted to jump back on, man, surprising the people, man. Shouts out to the people who encourage me, yourself, SVDL, the only league, Commissioner Solar, and the commissioners and stuff, just really giving that encouragement to jump back on, man. And that going in what we've been doing at the arena, I thought it was a good look. Plus, I welcome all the exercise, all the training. Yeah, man. All the sparring in the off season.
More sparring, less crying. More sparring, less crying. That's not training. Scheming. That's not training.
Right.
That's called whining. Yang is training.
Hey, man, we getting it in. So also, I'm looking should be expected to be joined by my man, the Bush Doctor, Shaka Ji Jaga, Shakur, a personal Ndugu, a personal brother, and comrade of mine that we've had the opportunity to work together, but more than just work together. That's why I say I like that he introduced me to the word Ndugu. And all that implies, because more than just work together, but really it implies a sense of building, a deeper sense of camaraderie. And he was a brother that back in the day, when I was in the party, when I was in the Panther Party back in the day, it was like locals would compete silently. It wasn't like we would just openly challenge you, but the competition lied in who had the most uniformity, who were the best drilled, who were the best really and the most participatory in their community, who were really effective. And I have to send shouts out to that Tri-City area, especially New York, where Shaka was. Before this, I had never really had an opportunity to work with him like we work now, to develop the friendship that we've developed now. But he was a brother that I had always admired, just from seeing the works they had done in New York, the works they were doing in Jersey and Philly. And when he gets on, we'll be able to talk about that and the evolution of that, or the de-evolution, the de-escalation in the movement now of the works that were being done. You know what I'm saying? Why aren't, if, some would say that it's a digression. I think I wouldn't say so much a digression, more of a distraction. I think elements have entered into the movement that distract. But I can't wait for Shaka to come on and be able to bless us with his presence and doing that. Links in the chat, and you know how we get down. This is an extension of like the arena. It's an open panel, man. Hit the link, jump up if you want to get in the discussion. The discussion is really generally the black movement. I want Shaka on here to be able to lead it off because there's some things I like to go into, and really get into the definition of movement. I think too many times when we say movement, we get in our mind like the cultural aspect, the political aspect. We begin to compartmentalize and not understanding we're talking about the whole aspect of a human being who's melanated. Our movement within the system, maneuvering the pitfalls and the snares, combating the combatants and everything, and taking advantages of the opportunities that are afforded to us. That's what we talk about the movement. So if you want to jump on here and be a part of that, cool, or whatever. Also, and almost like the last announcement, because I know I'm going on and on, 6 o'clock, check us out, the Arena Uncensored. We're going to be over there chopping it up. I want to talk about over there, and we might even can get it started over here. One of the things Trevor asked a very interesting question to me, and I didn't want to, he said, do you think black men are more, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, so I'm going to paraphrase. I don't want Trevor to eat me up, what I'm saying, but we'll see. Probably, but more, misogynistic or maybe brutal or I don't know, disrespectful to their women than other races. And my answer was then no, and still I believe no. But I didn't want that to be so trivial. I would hope some sisters would jump on the board. We promise to be fair and impartial to the best of our ability, but really give that take. And one of my things on that, because sometimes when I think about that, because it was really a good question. Me, my mind just goes there, social, cultural, economic, all the influences. And I think one of the biggest is moral. And so we know, though we may not have done it in the proportion that white people or any other people do it to their women, we know it's so wrong that even if it's meted out in the smallest portion, it does something within us because we inherently know, innately know that it's wrong. Where you look at, like I said there again, to point out other cultures and other societies, machoism, female suppression, female inferiority, machismo, and all of that is interwoven, integrated into not just their societies, but their laws. And that's why I said, that's going to be something we talk about, and we can start it here on the arena. Yeah.
Can women still not drive in Saudi Arabia?
The last I had checked, I think they were celebrating maybe around 2007 or something. I think they were celebrating that victory. That
okay.
Women can get behind the wheel. It's still, I believe, very much your chaperone, but now you have the right to actually get behind the steering wheel. It's these type of, but that's what made me think about it. It was a discussion you and I had, son, of a similar nature about Saudi Arabia. And it made me rethink that question because I'm like, yeah, these people have such stringent laws and restrictions towards their women that is sanctioned by the government. Now, I don't think we've reached that level of hatred for our women. And I don't think we would even think along those lines.
No.
To that type of suppression. I just don't see it in us. We just some nasty.
In fact, a lot of brothers would be happy to get a woman with a car.
Yeah, okay. What you mean she can't drive?
Right.
My license fucked up.
Shit.
So, it's real. I mean, yeah, we get low down, we get nasty in our treatment, in our interactions. We're very unhealthy. and very unhappy, and that's reflected in our interactions, you know. But I don't think on whole scale. Like I know we were talking about. Hold on for 1 minute. Yeah, man. Let me. I can't even. I'm trying to find my class. I think on whole scale, um, it's not that's not in us. I know we had talked about Big Mama. You know, I live under the Big Mama philosophy. I believe that Black people are matriarchal people. I believe that all the way from Africa. I do. I think the woman cultivated civilization.
So you believe before slavery, you believe every tribe was monolithic?
Monolithic? No, no,
Yeah.
no, no,
Okay. Okay.
no. I'm
So
talking
because
about. Oh, go ahead.
no, because I mean, yeah, if you talk about like in Zinga or in Shanti, yeah, they had queens. But if you talk about Mansa Musa or I don't know,
Yeah,
yeah, like Mansa Musa, yeah, like let's see, a lot of Northern Africa were male dominated. So that's why I was just like, it just depends on
a-
which tribe. So
yeah,
I
absolutely.
agree, but I disagree at the same time. So when the Atlantic slave, well, even with Muslim slave trade, well, Atlantic slave trade, let's just say Atlantic slave trade, they mixed in a lot of peoples, and we as Africans here in America, as you would say, Yanga, are descendants of many different tribes. I think that I was from a tribe where women weren't dominated. I'm just saying.
I mean, I
I'm
don't
just
have a
saying.
problem with that. I don't have a problem. That's when you get down into when you get what's up, Zanzi? Jump on, man. Links in the chat. I think that's when you get down to social structure. I think primitive man,
Right.
especially for me and what I believe, I don't know about what tribe and this and that, but what I do believe as a
Mm-hmm.
social core, as the cornerstone of civilization, as when you really look into what cultivated us and pushed and propelled us as a people, I would say it was the woman. That was the core center. I do think not matriarchal in the sense of Europeans like the queen that sat on the throne, but in the sense that the queen that was the power behind the scene. You know what I'm saying? All the way from back from hunter gatherer. You know, women were the core that cultivated civilization. And what you find, like, and it's interesting that you would say Northern Africa, what you find,
Uh-huh.
especially as the Abrahamic faiths begin to spread, the Abrahamic faiths were very patriarchal. They did away with the divine mother. You know what I'm saying? They gave you a father, a
Mm-hmm.
son, and a ghost. You know, they
Right.
give, you know, they don't in pre-Islamic or pre-Muhammad, yeah, pre-Islamic as understood as Muhammad stamped it in, uh the divine feminine, Alat al-Uzza, how they were even that these divine feminine energies are mentioned in the Quran, that the ha is feminine on Allah, that the crescent moon and star is an effeminate symbol in the Adinka and in
The
uh
Kaaba. Don't
uh
forget the Kaaba.
everything, right, the cops. So they try, when they tried to eradicate the great mother, they tried to do it through literature, but the symbolism and the culture, and those of us that understand the need for balance, divine masculine and divine feminine, saw the divine feminine, and we have
Okay,
no
well,
problem of.
I'm all for balance. I'm all for that because I think when people, not you, Yanga, but I've heard, hell, like even Unc, they take it to the extreme. Like black woman is God. That's
Mhm.
extreme to me. And I'm like, no. But I am all for the male woman paradigm. So
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
If
I'm all for that.
you can,
So
right,
I don't think, yeah,
it's balance.
because
You
at the end of
can't
the
have,
day, right,
you can't, yeah. You can't have see, that's the problem with the unbalanced man, the European. He pushed
right.
a patriarchal society. He pushed white male supremacy. Wukusu, brother, hit the link. It's up there, it's in the chat. Hit the link, Shaka. Yeah, and he, definitely, brother, hit the link, man. He pushed a patriarchal system with no balance, white male supremacy. You can't very well, if you live that, you can't. The problem with living in a patriarchal system with no balance is you deny the matriarch, the matriarchal system. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat. No audio. You deny the matriarchal system. You know what I'm saying? If you got a king, he got a queen. If you're a god, she should be in all rights a goddess. I think the problem is, I have no problem understanding that women have been, and always will be a very essential to survival. I mean, nature bears witness to that fact. I don't even
no, I'm
have
not
to be.
saying that. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm definitely not saying that.
So
We all definitely need each other
yeah,
to
yeah.
survive.
So if you begin to understand that something is essential to your survival, when you're thinking like the conscious man, the African man, see, the European doesn't care. Water is essential to the survival of the human being, and he still will pollute the water. Trees, the earth, Erda, Mother Earth, this wonderful spaceship that we rotates throughout the universe that we sit on, is being abused and exploited.
Yeah, but
So
it'll repair itself.
Right. So,
I said the earth will repair itself.
Yeah, but at what expense? I was watching something today. They saw the Spanish Stonehenge. Look up the Spanish Stonehenge.
Okay.
Have you heard about that?
I
this thing that's
remember it. Yeah.
It's this thing like Stonehenge. It's been there for 1,000 years. You know why you never saw it? Because it was underwater. It's a drought.
Oh, right, yeah.
It is dried up so bad over there that they're discovering architect. They call it the Spanish Stonehenge. Divers used to swim through it. Now people can walk up to it. There's a drought. So yeah, the earth will repair itself, but at what expense? So the conscious human being, and more times than not, it's the melanated people, the conscious human being understands, the wise human being understands, if this is essential to my survival, then it's imperative that I build around that. I ensure the growth, I ensure the health, I ensure, if need be, a happiness to a certain degree that ensures productivity. We begin to understand that this is essential to our survival. It ain't about being no sucker or anything like that. It's like, okay, for us to continue, this has to be whole, sound, and healthy. And we have to revolve around that, is my opinion. My man. Hey, man, y'all, my lighting is terrible. I apologize for my lighting. Wakusu. Wakusu, man.
Difficulty. Sorry about the tardy.
That's fine. Man, I have to introduce the brothers. I'm going to reintroduce my brother, man. This is my brother, my Ndugu, Shaka Ji Jaga Shakur. Man, for those that don't know, I could run down the list of the credentials, but we're going to talk about some of the more recent. I'm not going to go into the various particulars that I'm busting at the seams to go into, but we want to talk about things in the Black movement, what's going on, how he's seen it, some of the things that he's into. I had given a little talk earlier, Shaka, talking about, back in the days, how when we were in the party, we would have silent competition. I'm going to turn my camera off, man, because it's not looking good. We would have silent competition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the competition would be what city could be lock and step. You know what I'm saying? Who had the discipline? And I was telling them how I admired New York and that area up there, but particularly New York, where you were under, and I hadn't had the opportunity to get to know you like I do now, to work with you like we work together and build like we build now. But back then, just looking as a fellow comrade, how, man, had New York stepping, which brings me into my discussion now. That's my segue. What you think? What you think? From the Tahaka base to everything. What you think? Start anywhere, brother.
Hey, man. All right. Well, first
Yeah.
of all, before I jump into it, I gotta give thanks to our ancestors. Um,
Uh-oh.
Oh shit. Oh.
Yeah, his connection may be
Oh,
bad.
connection. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My man's a road warrior. You know, he hits that. He's on that road. So I called him. He
Oh,
pulled
okay,
over.
okay.
He pulled over
Oh, he
specifically
truck
for the
driving.
show. Yeah, yeah,
Oh shit. Okay, I already
yeah,
know what he's going through.
yeah. Okay, so you already.
I already know what he's going through. That's why. Oh man. That's why I
you
treat it.
already,
Oh man, I already know what he's going through, bro.
man, you already know.
Gosh, I already know. And he over the road too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah. He
Lord. Oh
OTR, man.
yeah.
He's
Oh
barreling down that
man.
highway.
Yeah, man.
There he
Yeah,
goes. He's
man.
coming
Okay,
back
there we go.
in.
Okay,
Let's get my
okay. Good,
brother.
good,
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. I'm back. I'm back.
Okay.
Pardon that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
You're
Well, like
you're
I
a
said.
little low, but we can hear you.
All right. Is this better? I'll hold the mic a little closer.
That's oh my goodness, that's a lot better, brother.
All right. Yeah, I just want to first of all, like I said, start with giving thanks to the ancestors that we even here to do this. First of all, and jumping into that, man, what we did in New York back in those times, or seemed like 1,000 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to do it without the help of the elders. That's the important part, man. We didn't do anything. We just really got the blueprint and ran with it. That's the part that I think people are missing right now.
I would agree. It's that disconnect in communication. One of the things I know is that you're very active in that. You're very active in giving advice. You're very active in counsel. How did you get over that divide? Because I personally know young soldiers reach out to you and still get a glimpse and an insight of they're like, yo, OG, what's the whoop the whoop? So how did
Right.
you make yourself available, or how did they feel comfortable enough to rap to you, and why don't you think it's more of that going on now?
Well, personally, what I did, I just kept it real, man. Like by telling them, like I'm not some kind of holy grail. You know, I had to study. I had to be quiet. Sometimes I had to listen. I had to fuck up a lot. I had to make a lot of mistakes until I got
Right.
that formula. You know what I mean? So it's not
Mm-hmm.
no like you're not gonna come here and I'm just gonna give you some. This ain't the Matrix. I'm not gonna give you some spoon bending and then all of a sudden you got it. You off. You Neo now. Nah, it don't work like that. It's
Right.
gonna take time. And I introduced him to where I got it from. Like a lot of times growing up in Harlem, I guess I was blessed to be in the mecca of black culture as growing up. So I could walk up to a real Garvey guy, and ask questions about Garvey. I could ask
Mm-hmm.
questions about, the Panthers or the Nation or Malcolm. Had access to all that. And these people are not dead and gone. They're still here. But what happens today is, let's keep it 100. You got gatekeepers. You got leadership that are deliberately keeping their followers in a state of following because
Mm-hmm.
they know that if they open access to those doors, then really you're not needed. I mean, I was raised to believe that the job of a real revolutionary is to become extinct. So I don't want to be needed all the time. I want you
Mm-hmm.
to come to me. And I want to show you I got it, so you can go get it. Because on the real, I still got work to do. I still got things I got to learn. So I can't be here
Mm-hmm.
all day teaching you. I'm gonna take you where I got it, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm trying to build a
I
movement, not an organization.
Okay. I think you know what, and I agree with that, man. I think that's one of the differences I see too. When we were coming up, we uh didn't mind. We would take you to our sources because we understood we were still very much in student form. We
Right,
weren't trying to jump out there and be that man. We wanted to be the man in our lane. If my job was to be the coffee maker, I wanted to make the best coffee in the
right,
place. So I wanted to, but I didn't want to be something that I wasn't groomed to be at this particular time or ready to be. One of the reasons too is I think we had such dynamic eldership and leadership, and everybody all the time. And I'm gonna say this with elders. When we say elders,
right,
everybody wasn't an elder in the term that I think we get Charlton Heston, Moses with the white hair coming off the damn mountaintop out of your mind.
Right, right, right.
Please get it out. Our old grandpa, boy, come here, let me tell you something. All that
Yeah,
old
yeah,
stuff. Get that. These
yeah.
were hip, vibrant, seasoned, mature men.
Right.
That's what we were calling elders. Very capable, very vital. They were our introduction into the movement. We were paying our dues. We were honored to be able to sit with these actual cats that had participated in revolution to the degree that they had, that first they thought we were trustworthy enough. We proved ourselves studious enough and disciplined enough to sit under them. So to be one of their students, I'm doing air quotes, to be one of their students, man, you could shit. It was almost like bragging. Somebody be like, where you get that from? Jimmy Carr, brother so and
Right,
so,
right, 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 right.
brother Shaka, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Wherever. Brother G Jaga, you were shit. You think I'm lying? I got him on my phone. Hold on, let me call him. Let me call.
right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right.
saying? Uhuru, brother. Uhuru. This brother don't think I know. I'm telling you. So we were honored. Um, I don't really see a lot of that.
No,
I
not at
think
all.
everybody's an overnight leader.
Well, we didn't, we didn't have social media. I mean, social media is a two-edged sword. On one end, I'm glad we got it because we reach a bunch of people we probably would never ever talk to back then. But on the other side, it takes away from, like you said, the dudes. You know, you can just get on here and do what you want to do and proclaim yourself. And who's gonna really check you? Who's gonna really, like, back in the days, to speak at a forum or an auditorium somewhere. First of all, who are you that 50 people come see you? Number one. Two, you couldn't even book a place in certain areas without people asking other people who you are to even
Mm-hmm.
book the spot to have your event. You know what I mean? So it's
Mm-hmm.
just a process. And if you were not of that status, it wasn't just not gonna happen. And if you tried to
Mm-hmm.
backdoor it, let's be real, people came there and shut you down.
Yes. Yes.
You know? And
Yes.
I don't mean just the movement, I mean the people in the community. It's like,
Right. That's
Yenga, you see Yenga every day. Who are you? You know,
right.
you know Yenga? No, well,
Mm-hmm.
nah, that ain't going, bro. It's not
Mm-hmm.
happening. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So it's that process that I think is missing. And because of that, people are like, they can jump in anywhere. As Sunday out of Cola said, it's like a popcorn revolution. We throw it in
Mm.
and a couple minutes, ding, we got popcorn.
Mm. Popcorn revolution. Uh yeah, I couldn't agree more. And and we see the effect of it.
Right.
We see the effect of it. We see uh Morris World TV,
Yeah.
prime example. We see the effects of a popcorn revolution. I have to send, as crazy as it may be, people may get upset. I'm going to send a shout out to Morris World TV for the exposés. I was really in the beginning trying my hardest to speak against it, to see the hidden agenda of the Moors to destroy Black Power and all of this type of stuff. I've since stopped watching it because I
Right.
hate to see Negroes feeding themselves to the machine. Why I send a shout out, because it is one of the rare channels that are out there now that I feel like is actually utilizing this whole social media thing for something that actually can be advantageous. Yeah, it might have its pinch of entertainment peppered down with this, there, but come on, it's Brother
Right.
Tahaka Bay. He's
Right.
gonna give you all of that. But the meat of it is there and the substance of it is there. So what you do with it lies on you, and it beats the hell out of a lot of other stuff that's being put out there. So I have to say shit, and he knows how to market it.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
he's
done his
brilliant. I
thing.
mean, it's
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
And my thing is, I think people are bothered with it, and to be honest with you, because it's not just about the content of that particular show or the people
Mm-hmm.
talking about that show, but what this is doing overall is putting a check on people. Like if you ain't
Mm-hmm.
all together, it's making you have to look at yourself
Mm-hmm.
because like it's them today could be you tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So people will feel away because like it's kind of like when the preacher gives a sermon. Me, you talked about
Mm-hmm.
the preacher goes home, writes a sermon, comes in, or the imam gets the khutbah, and you think he's talking to you. and he ain't
Mm-hmm.
thinking about you. He don't even know you exist.
Who done told the
You know what I mean?
imam about
Who
me?
told him? Yeah, he looking at the people like, yo, you must have told him what I
Yeah.
said because last Friday or Sunday, whatever. So I
Right.
think there's a lot of that,
Right.
you know. And at the end of the day, man, contradictions don't have to depend on what they are. They don't have to be the final step. But I will
Mm-hmm.
shout out the fact that the contradictions are being brought up. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
how people deal with those contradictions, that's on them. But the fact that it's being
Mm.
brought up, big shout because yeah, it is crushing liberalism. It's making us
Absolutely.
look at us, which is needed. So however, I'm a big believer in ancestors in the universe, and whether it's Sahaka Bay's idea or just transmuting through Sahaka Bay, it could be anywhere else, but it's there. So it's good
Mm-hmm.
because it's making us pump our brakes and question not just the New Black Panther Party or that particular subject, but question this entire thing we're doing. Us older cats and younger cats, we got to stop and question like, why is all this happening? Is
Mm-hmm.
it happening, and how do we change it? How do we prevent it from another go round again? Because that whole thing that I'm looking at is eerily reminiscent of the 1960s US organization situation. So it's kind of like a full circle. So what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
Question.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's crazy. Now listen, here I'm gonna play. I'm gonna ask the hard question,
Right.
because it has to be said. Because a lot of us, we knew this, right? I don't think many of us who have been around for a minute, I don't think that we're really surprised. So that goes to ask, or it raises the question, how did it get this far? Why now the exposure? Because I'm sure there are people who question that about me, like someone was telling me, I was like, I'm not really surprised. They say, really? And the way they said the really was like, well, damn, you know,
Right.
uh, so how did it, I guess the question, how did we allow it to get this far? Is that fair to ask that way? Or how did it get this far?
I think I don't really think it's an allowment. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a technological issue because we didn't have
Mm-hmm.
social media.
I
When
agree
I
with
was
that.
growing, when I saw a lot of stuff, it was questioned. I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, including myself, who did step to issues or try to
Mm-hmm.
change things or fight against certain things, but we didn't have social media. I mean, YouTube was
Yeah.
just budding back then. We had like MySpace. You know what I mean? We had no
Yeah.
way of having conversation like this. So
Yeah.
technology comes into play. I don't want to say everybody didn't do anything, because that's not fair either. People
Mm-hmm.
did what they could, whether it was directly confront the problem or just break away from it and try to do their own thing to not be associated but to continue the mission. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So this is just another wave of it. And I think had we been in this seat, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago or 10 years ago, I think we would have each other. You know what I mean? We would be the ones up here talking on social media like we are right now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then the
I
other half
agree.
of this too is
I like to think we'd have taken it farther. You know how it is. You always think
yes,
your generation, had we had this back when I was, wow,
we would have did this. You know what
we'd
I
have
mean?
done this.
Right.
Revolution would have been yesterday.
But for real, but at the least we would have confronted. I know that. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
like
yeah,
even
yeah.
the egregiousness of some of those charges, man. Um, I think that like I didn't even know about that until like shortly before that aired.
Yeah.
Somebody put me up on that whole issue. Because I ain't gonna be lying for me. I thought it was just. I didn't think it was that deep with the women
Mm-hmm.
abuse and all that. I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
just the usual misogynistic bullshit that we all know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, well, I guess then that those cats only time they'll grow out of that, or they'll learn, or they'll
Mm-hmm.
educate, or whatever the case may be. But to know that it was that deep, that was shocking to me. I was like, man, that's deep. You know what I mean? You can't come back from that.
Mm.
But the rest of it, yeah, I think that it's sad that not only that it went on that long, but that it's also sad that individuals who are involved had not looked at themselves before.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I hope, out of nothing else, man, I hope those individuals take a look at themselves. You know what I mean? And
You
whether
know,
they
it
continue to organize or not, just take a look at yourself.
yeah. It really speaks to mental illness in our community. And honest, I still haven't seen the video, so I don't know to what extent. From what I'm hearing, it's pretty bad, man. You know, and that's an understatement. Yeah. Uh, but to build on what you were talking about earlier, absolutely. We didn't have social media. So we didn't have as much exposure, which I will give social media the props of that. It's giving them a lot more exposure, a lot more range. But what we did have is, like you said, we had more in your face, more hands on. So it was more growling in your face, nigga. If you show up in this, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
It was
right,
like
right.
so it was more. The movement was more hands on, and to point emphasis, a lot of times it wasn't even members and parties. It would be the people who
Yeah,
knew the people in this part. Like you say, hey man, I know Shaka. Like one thing I'm gonna say, I'm put out there when you and I began to ran me up to Jersey, had an event. I had to be at Jersey at my man. I'm gonna, put a personal moment out here. Went to Jersey for some things. It was real heavy on me. Uh, my man, like I said, I had only really known about him. We talked a couple times when I was in Jersey. I was excited about that. I was looking forward to working with him. He was just across the water. But, I think you made that move to the A before I
yeah, I made
came
the A.
back. He was like,
Yeah, I moved
yeah,
to
he
the
was like, well, I'm headed out to the A. I'm like, I'm in Jersey for a minute. So, I prayerfully would get a chance to work together. So I end up getting back to the A. That thing happened in Jersey. He was like, yo, my man, you ain't. I'm like, man, this and that. Peeps is this, that, and then now it might be trouble. Man, man, come on. I'm like, for real,
A.
man? Like, man, come on. And I came to find out we know like some of the same people tight. So my people was advised like, oh, you didn't know that's my man, that's your man, that's that. I'm like, oh, okay. Said all that to
Right.
say though, I appreciate that one. But when we got there and finished all that, when people work in their city, when we was coming back, he was like, you got a couple more days you can hang out? I was like, yeah. And my man took me to New York, to his stomping ground. And people worked. We met everybody from the butcher, the baker, to the candlestick maker, the brother that make the suits, to the brother. And this is how I was when we were having a talk about this ill leadership or just ill representation of so-called revolutionaries. That I said, when you want to shut them down, you have to be a person of influence in your
Right.
community. That's the only way that's going to work. I don't
Yeah.
care how many likes you getting. If you're not a person of influence in your community where you say, hey man, watch that cat or this and that, you know, everything else is just a joke.
Yep. A lot of people say, like, revolutionary, and they try to classify it. But like I asked somebody recently, like, what does revolutionary look like? Like, what am I looking for? Really? At the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, what are we looking for? And there's no description of that except the people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
that determines it. Like, can I go in your neighborhood and they hate you? Like, oh, Shakur always talking that black stuff. Ah, oh, gets on my nerves. Leave I know
Mm-hmm.
you out there doing your work. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you best believe when something in that black stuff world comes along, they're gonna come get you because they know
Mm-hmm.
that that's what you about. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like this man. All I can say, like, it's gonna be some changes. That
Oh man, it has to
yeah,
be. Yo,
some
I'm gonna
changes.
throw a curveball in there. What's that behind you? Won't you break that down? What's
Oh,
behind you,
oh, oh,
man?
oh! Behind me here. Hold on.
Yeah.
This is the African American Heritage Flag, and this flag was created in Newark, New Jersey, in like 1967. Two brothers who grew up in Jersey. These elders had Flag Day all their life, and they noticed every Flag Day there was no flag in particular for Africans in America. So there was everybody else's flag. So they took to create this flag. And behind me is a reef. The reef is prosperity. The sword represents, of course, defense. The black is the people, and the red is the blood and the sacrifice. And they created this flag in particular, not to take away from the red, black, and green flag, which I also have in America as well, but to give us something in particular to ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
for those out there that's like, that ain't our flag, it don't got nothing to do with if you in the Nation of Islam, you got a flag. If you in the Moors, you got a flag. 5% Nation, you got a flag. Everyone has a flag. But as a group, they're saying we also have this flag. So when
Mm-hmm.
you go to the Italian house, they have the Italian flag and then the American flag. You know, So it's the same thing for us. Along with all those other flags, you have this flag, and then you have the red, black, and green, which is our international, or like our NATO flag. You know, that's the
Yeah.
flag we all go under. You know, so that's what it is. And I found out. I recently found out about it. I saw it, and I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw the flag, the individuals who were propagating it, I wasn't really feeling it because they sounded really separatist. You know what I mean? Really divisionist. And I was like, I ain't trying. You know, and I ain't gonna front. I was like, And then, just kind of cruising down the road, flipping through YouTube, and I came across the origin of the flag, and I was like, yo, that's cool. I can support that. So I got with it. So that's my flag. It feels good when
That's
I'm riding out here in these little hick towns, and they got the flag. You know what I mean? I got my flag now. You know what I mean?
right.
You know,
Right.
when they come up in
That's
here and
heavy.
they see that, yeah, we got a flag too, bro.
Right, right. That's heavy. And I like that you broke it down. Like you said, it doesn't take away from the universality of the red,
Right.
black, and green, but speaks particularly and specifically to us as black Africans here in America, man. I think that's shit. That's apropos. Now, to take it back to the movement,
Right.
uh, and that's broad. I'm even going to ask you this, and I hope it doesn't come off cynical. Do we still have a movement? Is there a
That's
movement?
a good question. Yeah, there's a movement, definitely.
Okay.
Even though
Okay.
I'm real, y'all see me on Facebook, I'm critical of that. But it's something I might sound cynical and bitter. It's not that we definitely have a movement because the movement is based on situation and contradiction. And the contradiction, African liberation, has not been answered. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
in short, there is a movement. There always a
Mm-hmm.
movement to solve issues. Now, with that being said, is our movement moving? That's a whole other story.
Hmm.
We need to get it moving. We need to put some
Yeah.
more fire back under. You know, what I mean, we've lost, and that's a critical take on all of us in the sense that real life kicks in. You know what I mean? And we are people battling all the time on multiple fronts. So we've lost a little traction, and we need to get it back. We need to
Mm-hmm.
like start talking more about black nationalism. We got away from that. Start talking more about yes, repatriation and connecting with Africa. We've gotten away from that. Talk more about our placement in this country. Are we trying to fix the burning house, or are we trying to create our own house? Like we need to have these discussions. Or
Mm-hmm.
are we reformists? Or are we African liberators? Which one is it?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not taking away from the 413Ks and all that, because hey, that's a good little move. That's what's up. We need it.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing inside this matrix. I dig it. But we gotta realign our reason for doing it. Are we connected to our political prisoners the way we should be?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody real smart out here. That's good. We all deep with it. But do you write a political prisoner? Are you trying to bring more of them home? We brought like almost 13 home so far. Are we bringing more home? Like the foundational question we need to go back to. So I think the movement is real. It's here, but it's time for a tune. Point blank. We can all be part of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's time to address the issues we got going on here.
Right.
You know, it's time to address the issue. So, and one of the things too that I think that would help with the movement is uh, being able to distinguish between organization and movement. I think a lot of times they are used interchangeably. So
Right.
many times you come in, the movement let me down. No, that organization, or the movement ain't this, or we need to do this. This needs to be handled in this person. No, okay, that's an organization too. That's separate from the music. To give us a breakdown,
Right.
organization and movement, brother,
All right.
in Google.
Movement is, I'm gonna use your anatomy. Your entire body is a movement. Each organ in you is a separate organization with a particular function to help get the body where it's going. So think of the entire struggle for African liberation as the movement. And each one of these groups are the heart, the lung, the pancreas, the liver, etc. within that to get it going. So if you're down with the liver people and you got a problem with your liver, you don't blame your kidney for your problem in your liver. You do what it takes to heal the liver. Vice versa, if the kidney has a problem, you don't blame the lungs. You do what you got
Mm-hmm.
to do to get that kidney straight. But
Mm-hmm.
what keeps all of them intact is understanding that they are organs inside a body. So now we all ultimately got to get our shit together, because if we don't, the whole body gonna collapse. That's
Mm-hmm.
when we let the movement down. The movement can't let you down. You know,
Hmm.
and I think people come in, like you said, there's no real political education to break that down. And I keep saying, like, political education is not just black facts. Who did what,
Right.
when, where, what date? That's history.
Right.
That's
Right.
history. That's
Right.
peace. But technically, that's not political education.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing those things, what is that? What is this? Why is it not that? That's political education. And it needs to be hyped up more. So, and people come here with the illusionary dreams, man.
Hmm.
Like, this is a movement for liberation. This is not gonna fix the problems you got with your mom and your daddy. You're gonna fuck around, come here and have more problems. Because you're gonna run
Right.
into a whole bunch of
Yeah.
people who got problems
Yeah.
with their mommies and daddies.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get over baby mama drama by joining the
Yeah.
movement, or
Yeah.
baby daddy drama, or your distressed relation with your children.
Yeah.
All you're
Not
gonna get out of the
overnight.
movement, not
Right.
overnight, nah.
Not
What you're gonna
overnight.
get out of the movement is the history of it,
Right.
so you can understand, and then you get the tools to go back and do it yourself. But it's not
Exactly.
the movement's fault. You're gonna meet all
Exactly.
kinds of characters in here.
Exactly.
So yeah, you're right. It's not the movement, but because you said it's interchangeable, people don't know the difference. Like, organizer, mobilizer. There's a
Yeah.
difference
Yeah.
between the two. And then we have a lot of
Yeah.
mobilizers now, and we're still learning a lot about organizing for the long run.
Mm-hmm.
We're phenomenal mobilizers. We can get people in the
Mm-hmm.
room, but when they're in the room, we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And then that's where the letdown comes
Absolutely.
in, because people get hyped up, they're ready to go, and we really
Mm-hmm.
don't know where to go. We haven't
Mm-hmm.
analyzed that. So now the people
Mm-hmm.
get frustrated and so forth. So
Mm-hmm.
I hope that answers the question.
I perfectly. I think, I'm a build on and bring to the build, man, like you were saying. Uh, they come in romanticizing. They believe that overnight, instantaneously, they're going to be healed. One of the things I agree with you so much, that the movement brings its own pressure, it brings its own particular and certain type of energy that is going to add a whole new drama. However, in conjunction with, if we're developing uh, type, a revolutionary type, and
Right.
if you've learned your political educations, and one of the things we were talking about earlier in the program, connecting ourselves with our elders, I like to say our predecessors, those people who really put in the work before us, some of the arguments and mistakes you're making, you don't have to. Basically, I'm
Right.
saying, man, look, holla at your big brother. Your
Right.
big Shaka, Yanga, man, shouts out to Dawood Africa. Shouts out to King Black out there in the chat. We see you, Beaumont. See you, brother. So, you got seasoned people in there. So a lot of the mistakes you don't have to make just by letting go of some ego, practicing humility, and embracing the mannerism of being a student. It should be an honor to be a student
Right.
again. You know what I'm saying? To be able to quote and go to your references, and even having a guide, for lack of better words, a mentor. In my spiritual practice, it's recommended and encouraged that you have a living guide.
Right.
Not just read the scripture. Have you a living guide? Hey, man, I'm going through. Like an AA sponsor. Hey, brother, or hey,
Right.
sister, I'm
Right.
going through.
Right.
Yeah, pray. We're gonna pray through. We're gonna fast through it. Life is like that. So the movement's like that. Have your sponsor reach back out, and I think a lot of that is just when they don't have that, you see them being redundant and they get burned out, and they blame that on the movement. What would be, because we're closing up. I usually only go about an hour, man. And man, this is what's up, man. Shock, I appreciate it. You're gonna be on. I basically is anytime you get, I want you to come on and just jump on and sit on the panel as we discuss other things. There again, I'm on for a few more minutes. Listen, I put the link off in the chat. If you want to jump on here, holler at my man Mikasa, holler at me, you know what I'm saying? Bring something up. We're talking about the black agenda, black movement, very general discussion. But if you want to get specific on something, you'll either put it in the chat or there again. Jump up here. You're more than always welcome. In our wrapping it up, though, Ndugu, what would you say? What would be some advice you would give this next wave of freedom fighters and liberators coming into this glorious, this vainglorious struggle of ours?
Well, I think the first thing is don't be afraid to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't be over religious or whatever you call it. Don't be afraid to fuck up. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. And I don't talk
Mm-hmm.
about just in the movement, in your personal life. You know, don't be afraid to mess up your relationships with people. Don't be afraid to maybe not be the best parent or whatever it is that you're going through. And feel you should feel comfortable enough to turn to those you call a new group, which means kin or comrade. Your new group. You should be in that presence of people that welcome that. Or find someone that you can go to with that who's not gonna judge you, but they're gonna help pull you through. You know, that's number one. Number two,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to elders, uh, you know, people before you, whatever you want to call it, if they can't come to you and openly talk about their shortcomings, then they're not good for your advice because they're gonna put you somewhere you don't belong. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, last but not least, what you're doing is real. You're needed. You're needed whether you know it or not. You're needed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so don't give up. Don't get disillusioned. Don't quit. You know, you have to pull back sometimes, regroup, all that. But what you're doing, you were called here for a reason. And
Mm-hmm.
last but not least, do not, do not, I say it again, do not come in here thinking that you are going to be the one to lead everybody over the hill. Like,
That's
don't do that to yourself. Please do not do that to you. You're going to waste so much time that you're going to
oh
realize one day
shit.
that you're not that person. And then
Yes.
you're going to be disappointed and depressed. Don't
Yes.
do it to yourself. We all did it. I did it. You know, I thought 1,000 men going to be coming behind me. We're going to be taking the hill. And we're going to wave the flag and all that. No.
Yeah.
Keep that spirit, no doubt. Keep that spirit. But don't put that on your shoulders. Don't do that.
Absolutely.
You know, and revolution is evolution, as an elder Imam Talib Abdul Rashid said one time. Revolution is evolution sped up, and evolution is revolution slowed down. So take your time.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Ah man, pushing up.
Fuck with
Don't
my man
forget to.
Yang right here. Fuck with the show.
Hey
That's what you
man,
do. You
I
want to
I
come up?
appreciate
Tune
it.
into the show. That's what you do.
Absolutely, man. Don't forget. Definitely. Next time I'm on, I'm gonna show you. I want to come from the studio. I want to show you what we're doing, what we're raising funds for here in Atlanta at People TV. Mess with us. Political education is my cash app. Yanga 2018. We're about to put it out, man. We're about to put it
Yeah,
out. I've been out
things
there.
are
I
going on here.
appreciate.
I can't talk about them yet, but got some stuff coming for y'all to be involved
Hey
with.
man, we got some things, and this is gonna be the place that is coming out, if not another channel. I'm working in conjunction for my more or less spiritual people. We may have other channels. Just look for a lot of great things to be coming out. One like what we're talking about now. What you see is in Shaka and I and brothers and sisters like us, you're about to see the dues paid, the end result of the knocks, the bruises, the crying, the why me? Oh my God, I'm gonna give up.
Yeah,
Some of those even thinking at particular times we were the chosen ones. So
right.
you're gonna see lessons learned, seasoned, matured, experienced human beings performing what we had signed up to do. And prayerfully, this will be encouraging. One of the things though, we talk about this, our egos and being the one. Shaka, you share a funny story, man. I forget who you were talking to one time when you was like, "Listen, you can be real with me. Anybody that knows Shaka gonna say something funny as hell anyway, and it's gonna be relevant. He don't care about putting himself out there." He said, "Listen, you can be real with me. I know how the ego works. I used to." He said, "When I was feeling down, I would put on my uniform and walk down Harlem, walk down 125th Street.
Yeah,
Yo, what was that? What you
man,
know?" And I
that
could
was like my
appreciate you
drug.
sharing that.
That was my drug. Crazy.
Yeah.
That was my feel good drug. It's like for those who ever seen the movie Paid in Full, the guy that played Rich Porter, Makai Pfeiffer, he said when he did it at the beginning it was for the money, but after he started getting the feel good, the praises, he kept hustling. He couldn't stop hustling because that was what he was moving for. It's the same thing. When things didn't go right in my house, or I wasn't cooking, maybe I didn't get a job, or money was tight, or bill couldn't get paid. I was feeling like less than a cheerleader. I put my uniform on, right? I mean, Chris ironed it up, bang, bang, everything broken down, boot shined and all. And I would walk the streets of Harlem, and people, hey, Brother Shaka, oh man, thank you for your work, brother. We're glad you're here, brother. Thank you for your work. Oh, we appreciate you so much, brother. And I ain't done nothing, but it felt good. I mean,
Right.
I hadn't done
Right.
nothing that day, but it felt good.
Right.
So
Right.
that was my job. I was a junkie, man. I was a
Mm-hmm.
junkie, brother. I want to stand up and be like, hello, my name is Shaka Ji Jaga. I used to be addicted to yourself. You know what I mean? For real.
Right.
I'm currently in rehab. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's a true story, man. And we do it. We do it. So, yeah,
Yeah, man, it's true.
be careful
But
out there, man.
yeah, man, I think what I loved about it, it was so personable, and it was relatable. You know, you was letting the young brother know, man. You know, hey, man, take the defenses down, take the pretenses down. We've all been there, and you can spare yourself the pain of going down that road by just, you know, listening to this lesson. It's a drug. It's a drug, you know, and we all have to learn. Sometimes I think when I began to accept that it was a drug, I could see other people's addiction, even all the way, dare I say, our dear brother Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? When I began to realize how intoxicating that attention and stuff is for myself, I am young and I'm addicted to it. You know, and it could become a drug if you sought release solely in that, man, you start to see it in other people's like, man, you know, you be like, hey man, be careful, you know, it's addictive. What you told? Know what you told about it? Hey, okay.
Yeah, right.
And just
Me, I got to figure it out. I got this. It ain't the media, because everybody knows that comment, like mom said, the media, the white man's media.
mm-hmm,
Not the media. That's the drug.
mm-hmm,
The drug is the fact that we are people who have been invisible for over 500 years, bro. Like invisible.
mm-hmm.
Like you could be in the room and they would talk about you like you're not even there, and really expected you not to repeat what you just heard.
Right.
That's how it wasn't like, shh, don't say this because he's there. They are not even real. They don't even exist. So, well, now that
Wow.
we have the opportunity to be seen, we just all crazy with right now. All of us. Not that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's part of the growth we start realizing. And then you can take that notoriety or whatever you have and learn how to use it the right way. But in the beginning, I mean, we could go on for days.
Yeah.
I was like, what's that? Shazam when he first got his
Yeah.
power, big kid in a man's body. That was me. What? I can do
Right,
this.
right,
I can that.
right.
Oh, well, I got that.
Yeah.
You know, they gonna let me
Right.
in because I'm Shaka. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
it's a phase, and that's why I make it light so that we can talk about it. But I really want people to understand, because if you don't know that this is gonna happen to you, listen to the way, and I'm not gonna be long. If you don't know that this can happen to you, my brothers and sisters, that is what people will jump in and play you with to make
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you are a terrible person, that you're
Yeah.
not worthy, so that they can really strip you down from the place you really belong. You know what I mean? And they will
Mm-hmm.
pimp that and have you quit because you think you are the most horrible thing since turpentine, but it's not
Wow.
real. You are just going
Yeah.
through some shit that everybody goes through, but you didn't know. So I try to give
Mm-hmm.
you some heads up.
That's what's up. That's what's up. You're right. Because I can't tell you how many new freedom fighters and the next wave of liberators have come in that I have seen. I'm, you know, like yourself, I make myself available to those sincere brothers and sisters who are really serious about making a change in the condition of black Africans here in America. I make myself available. You know, I'll try to teach a class or two or give some advice wherever I can
Right.
aid and assist. And one of the biggest, like we were talking about earlier, man, one of the biggest things I see is that frustration and that giving up. If they're not on the brink of giving up and falling back, they've fallen all the way back. And it goes back to what we talked about, what I always try to explain, making that distinction between organization and movement. Because a lot of times I would tell them, if you maybe think about leaving that organization, you will find some solace and some comfort, some
Right.
release in the movement. You know, you think that if you leave that organization, you're out of the movement. I hear people, I used to be in the movement. Used to be? Yeah, I used to be, you know, a Panther. And so you got out of the movement? Yeah, I stopped it. You know. So I think, like I said, once that distinction is made. But I can understand, you know, without political education, and political education, I love what you broke down. It's not just Black history.
Right.
You know, it's not just Black history. If you know a date and some of these facts, it's because there's a lesson that is pertinent and relevant to
Right.
what you're learning. And I encourage this next wave of freedom fighters to reach out, because not only is it not just history, um, but it's about that lesson in there, and you learn from the practical experience of the guide or the mentor. Not only am I giving you this understanding and my experience of it, you know, I'm giving you this understanding. I'm giving you an understanding with my experience,
Right.
and that can go to your repertoire. I'm not telling you now you know all, but what I'm saying is you're going in it with a little more information. So if I see you go into it blindly, I'm like, damn, bro, I thought we talked about,
Right.
you know, you just ran head in. I thought I told you it was a brick wall behind the curtain. Oh, you
Right.
didn't believe me, huh? You know, so yeah, man,
Yeah.
crazy,
That's it, man. That's all
crazy.
I can really say to them.
Absolutely. Yo, and one more thing before I let you go, man. I know that the people heard us, and I know I have a lot of new viewers and people that may not be hip. I know they heard us hit with the Wakusu. Why don't you
Right.
give a quick rundown of that Wakusu and what we were greeting one another with?
No question. Wukusu means wake up, clean up, and stand up. It means wake up to the knowledge of our people, the greatness of our people. Then clean up. Get rid of everything that has been given to us that keeps us away from that greatness. And then stand up. Don't allow anyone to ever take it away from us again. Now, that entire phrase was really founded by my man Divine Allah out of Trenton. Big ups to Divine, peace to the God.
Big ups to Divine,
Of
peace
course,
to the
you know,
God.
the political scene right now about to take over Trenton. You know, we were in a group together called the Roof Society, and that's another whole other story. But we wanted to come up with a way to do a call and response thing. My man Divine is a huge Wu Tang fan. That's where the Wu came from. And
Hmm.
lo and behold, he called me one morning and was like, "Yo, Wukusu, I got it. I figured it out." So we were like, "What?" I was like, "What's that?" He was like, "Wake up, clean up, stand up." I just heard it from Malcolm X when in a speech. Malcolm said, "If you wake up, you'll clean up and you'll stand up." So we just incorporated it, and then we changed it over time. We took out the C and put a K in it because Ka,
Mm.
you know, that's a whole spiritual thing. And Wukusu sounded real like African does. So you know, we experienced mentioned on stage while we did shows. And when we first did it the first time, when you had the whole crowd, Wukusu, you know, that vibration was crazy. I mean, whew, felt like I was out there with 1,000 Zulu warriors ready to take it to them, you know. And then we decided that we was going to greet each other with that from now on. It turned it from a phrase to a shows to an actual concept to a language word. So we say Wakusu when we greet and when we leave to remind us to wake up, clean up, and stand up.
Word. Perfect. Definitely. Man, with that, I can't think of a I appreciate you sharing that, man. There again, yeah, peace to the God divine, man, is and to that Maroon Society. That you know, you had to shout it out. A man of many things. We gonna have you back. Definitely. I permanent part. Y'all look to see Shaka pop in and out, Mukasa pop in and out anytime the Bush Doctor. This is just the tip of the iceberg of some of the things we talk about. We're gonna, you know, get into some spiritualism, some healing. Yo, man, check the show out. It's really a people's education committee program because it is. I do believe informed people make informed decisions. It's not about making your mind for you. It's about giving you information so that you can make empowering decisions.
Right.
You can make informed decisions. The more you have to add into the computer, the better the sum. You know, we're looking for a better result. So with that, I'm gonna end on the note that my man just told you about with Wakusu out there listening. Wake up, clean up, and stand up. Peace.